Hi everybody and welcome back to Dred Custom Paint. In today's video I'm going to give you a beginner's guide into paint. I'm going to run through some of the paints that I've used in my airbrush career, steer you towards ones that are user friendly, easy to use. I'll go through some water-based products and I'll go through some solvent base for you as well. So what I'll do is I'll start off with the solvent base. If you're new to paint and you're getting into this and you want to start painting things that are plastic, metal, aluminium, things like that, I'll just give you a guide on what you need to do to prep your panels. So if you're basically going from a metal panel, you want to paint your first wing, bonnet, fender, tank, and you've got this tank and it is in raw steel. Now the first thing you want to do if you're going on raw steel, you want to go for a Etch Primer. You can get these in aerosol cans like I've got here, and basically an acid etch primer is a product that you would put down to raw steel or aluminium, and it will etch itself into the steel and grab. It's a good bond on the etching primers. They'll grab, and then you would put that down first, a couple of coats of Etch Primer, and then you could come off that with like a 2K primer, which is a 2-part mix with a hardener. You'd sand that down and then you would put your base coat down, and then you can start putting your artwork down, and then once your artwork's down you can then apply your clear coats. So you can go Etch Primer. If you've got bare steel, bare aluminium again, you can go epoxy primer. You can go that way and put an epoxy primer down onto the bare steel, and that will seal it. That's a good anti-corrosion way of going about it. And then you could go your 2K primer again, then go your base coat, then go your artwork, and then go to your clear coat. So they're sort of primers that you can get for doing steel, aluminium. If you're going plastic and you've got things like plastic that you want to paint, get your piece of plastic. Just check what sort of plastic it is, because some plastics are very oily. Like you get the wheelie bins and things like that, they're a pain to paint because they're very oily plastic. But if you've got things like ABS plastic, most of your car stuff is like wing mirror covers, bumpers, you go down with a plastic primer. So if you've got a wing mirror cover that you want to paint that's like say just a black plastic, I would slightly scuff back with a Scotch-Brite the plastic, and then go in with a Standox plastic primer. What I've got here, this works really well. You can also get the MIPA aerosol, about that sort of size plastic primers, they work well. So you drop a couple of coats of plastic primer down, then you could go for, you could put a 2K primer on top of that, do a 2K primer, flat that down, put your base coat down, put your artwork down, and then put your clear coat. Or you could go plastic primer, then you could drop your base coat down on top of the plastic primer if you're using this one, do your artwork, and then do your clear coat. So that sort of gives you a rough guide into your solvent side, going for your solvent bases. Once you get your pieces up to base coat, so you've gone through all your solvent range and your base coat is a solvent base, and now you're ready for artwork, we can now move on to this array of paints. These are all the paints that I've tried. I've tried more in the past, but this is what I've got in my sort of stock of paints that I try. I'll start off on this top row. We've got the Wicked range, and I brought this many years ago. I don't use it now, these are all dusty. My experience with Wicked, I did a Drew Blair course, and at the time this is what we were using on the course, so I brought a pack of this paint. And you have to have the reducer with this paint to thin it down. So I got the pack of paint, I had 2 bottles of reducer. I used the 2 bottles of reducer with this paint and then never brought it again. Never brought the reducer again, because at the time you were looking at buying a set of the paints and then you got to buy your £7 or £8 bottles of reducer, and I just didn't want to go down that route. It was just, for me, I want something quick I can reduce and use, not have to start a project, do this, oh you've run out of reducer, oh, I've got to order some reducer now, and then you're waiting for a reducer to turn up and it's costing you £6 to £7 each bottle of reducer. So I used it, people probably still use this. It's a good paint, really nice colours, it does work. If you're going down the wicked route, just remember that you're going to be buying reducers for this range of paint. The next one along, which is this one, I got 3 bottles of this when I brought the custom micron airbrush. The company that I ordered it from gave me 3 bottles of this to try, and again it needs a reducer, and I've not used it. I think that's the E-Tech or EFX series. I don't use it, they're all full bottles. I steered away from that one. Moving down to the next shelf is the FW range by Darley Rowney, is it? These paints I've used a lot of, and I do rate these paints because you get the inks. So you'll get your ink, your whites, your blacks, your normal colours in the ink, and then these do pearlescence, shimmers. You can get the whole range of colours, pearlescence and different shimmers, and these spray straight away. You've not got to thin these down, so these can go straight in the airbrush, and on the actual bottle at the back it shows you what you can use these for. It's got the icon for airbrush, paintbrush, you can put these through pens and things like that. So this is a real good paint, guys. I do recommend that. I've used this on a lot of projects and the colours look really nice. The shimmers and the pearls and things like that really do work well. That's why I've got a lot of range of that. I've not used these recently, but I can jump to these. With these bottles you get, when you open these up, you get a little pipette, so you can droplet them into your airbrush, which is really nice. Just keep your eye on the drying up round the bottles on these. Keep these wiped down because they can tend to dry up and the lids can get quite stuck. So that's the FW range of them. So I've used these, I would recommend them. They're good colours, do some really nice colours in them and effect paints in them. Moving round to this side here, we've got the Auto Air colours, and all these are full. I don't use them. I've had a little play with them in the past. We've done, when I was working with another painter, we did a project bike, a Kawasaki Ninja, and we did a candy green in Auto Air. And again, reducers, buying the paint, buying the reducer, and things like that, and we'd ran out and we had to reorder stuff and then wait for that to get delivered, and slow process for me again. I want something that I can just go bang, paint. So it is a good paint. I have used it years and years ago. As you can see, these bottles are full of dust and I just do not use them. We've got a chameleon, we've got candies and things like that, but I don't use them. They do work, but I do not use that brand anymore. Moving round, we've got some cheap acrylics. Now this I have used and recently used. These are Crafter's Choice, and these are £1 a bottle, guys, from a shop in my local town, and these work absolutely fine. I've used these for most of my portrait work. I've brought the full range of these and made full skin tone sets with these. So I've got all bottles mixed up, as you can see here. Skin tone 9, skin tone 13, skin tone 8. I've got about 1 to 24 pre-mixed, and then each skin tone on these cards is 50% coverage, 100% coverage, and then to make them skin tones, they're all how many droplets you'd need. So the colour, white, yellow, red, blue, tells you how many drops to put in. So each skin tone set I can make up straight away. I've got all the formulas for these. So that's a good idea. So if you're mixing your skin tones, make one and then put that in a pot and then just mix a little bit more. I've had a bit more yellow, a bit more blue, a bit more white, and just count your drops and then do what I've done. Make some little spray cards out and spray your skin tone sets. And as I say, these are all bottled. I can just flip these cards over and all the formulas on how to make the skin tones are there. So I've never got to worry about making a skin tone. I've got the whole sets, my own sets that I've made up. But this paint works really well. It thins down really nice with water, so it's nice and easy. So I would recommend that one if you can get hold of it, and that is the Crafter's Choice at £1 a bottle. I've actually used that on automotive as well, and it's been absolutely fine. It dries fine, the colours have held up with clear coating over. It's been absolutely fine. So I've used that one, that works. Coming over to this make is the same as these bottles, but you are getting it in your tube form. These work out to about £2 for a plastic tube like that of the paint. You can thin this down with water. This works absolutely fine. In my skull and green skull, candy green skull and marble effect, I used this one for the silver base coat for the marble effect, and it works absolutely fine. That's another one in a tube. That again is just an acrylic cheap paint, but it works. Thin it with water, job done. So if you're looking at a brand, there are a few here. As I say, we've got the Wicked. They work. People still use them now. You've got loads of other brands, and you've got solvent based airbrush paints that are on the market by Specialist Paints, do a range which is supposed to be really good. I've not tried them yet, but I'm pushing you, and I will always bang on about it, is Golden High Flow Acrylics. I've used this from day dot, this paint here, Golden High Flow, which is in these bottles here, and it is the easiest paint you'll get on with. You just thin it with water, nice and easy. Fill a jar up out your kitchen tap and you're good to go. And you can do this 1 to 1, so 1 drop of golden, 1 drop of water, back bubble it with your airbrush and off you go. All my videos I'm using Golden High Flow Acrylics. As I say, I've used this from day dot. It works, the colours hold up brilliantly. You can also get the golden in the tubes like that, and you can thin this down exactly the same with water, and it works absolutely fine. You can get the bottles like that, which are the thicker. You get the high flow for the airbrush, but if you come across these ones with the flat lids on the top, it's thicker paint. Drop the water in and you can thin it down exactly to the high flow, exactly the same. So yeah, I recommend Golden High Flow. This paint, if you're doing paintings, portraits, things like that, that will work on automotive. I've used this on automotive and it works fine. But for a budget acrylic paint, it's really good. And if you do come across this at £1 a bottle, they do every single colour you can think of, and you can near enough buy a skin tone set. You could buy a skin tone set with this stuff for about £10 and it's already mixed. But I just custom made my own. These ones are £2 to £2.50 for one of those, and they're 120ml. And then you're looking at these ones, the FW range. These can work out to about £4 to £5 a bottle. But as I say, really good paint. It works. You get some really nice pearls. You've got a green pearlescent. We've got a dark green pearlescent. We've got shimmers, pink shimmers, red shimmers, black pearls, golds. You get some really nice colours in that range. You can buy them in kits. So you get a pack of about 6 in a pack. These ones will come in a pack. The Wicked. You can buy these individually on the auto air, and you can buy them in packs. And then you've got your solvent range at the back here, your etch primers, your epoxy primers, plastic primers. We've got some candies, again specialist paints, really nice candies from specialist paints. You've seen them in my previous videos. I've been using the candies, the concentrate candies. So that's my little look into the paint for beginners, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's given you a bit of knowledge into paint. Have a play. That's what it's all about. Get some paper, grab some of these cheap brands. The ones that you need to thin with water, you can thin these ones with water. They can be thinned with water, they can. This range of the FW, you'll be absolutely fine. You can drop them straight in your brush and they'll spray. Your Wicked, you can spray these straight out of the bottle, but you do need a reducer. If you're doing detailed work, you're going to need to reduce these paints down, so you will need to buy a reducer with these. These ones at the end, you'll need to buy a reducer with them. So yeah, I always tend to stick to the ones that I can just jump straight in on with water or are ready to go, and it just makes life a lot easier and a hell of a lot cheaper, as you will find out when you start buying your paint, as I have, because you grab a paint and just try different ones and just see which one suits you, because you'll always come across a brand that suits you. I've stuck with Golden because the airbrush artist that taught me has used Golden in his career, and he said, Rob, use Golden, you won't look back, it works, this is how you do it, this is how you thin it, and it works. And I've stuck with that brand from day dot, and I've been airbrushing 12 plus years, and I'll always stick to that, and then probably venture on to some of that now and again, some of this, some of that. I'll always use the solvent range as I'm doing custom work, and I'll be going up my panels with the primers, the plastic primers, the high build primers and things like that, and then I'll always start to drop my artwork in with these three, and then sometimes these. You can use these, and then these can be dropped over the top, but let these dry first. If you're putting a layer of this down, then you're going over with the water-based acrylic, let it dry, and you can go over that, it's not a problem. So that's my little look into paint. I hope you've got something out of it. I'll leave links in the description for all these paints. If I can source this, I'll leave a link in it. I'll have a look and I'll leave a link to this one for you, but all the others, not a problem, I'll give you the links in the description. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you're new to my channel, click that subscribe, press that notification so you don't miss out on any more up and coming videos on Dred Custom Paint. And as I say, just enjoy it, guys. Have a play with some paints, see what you get on with, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.